Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about autism communication issues that cause anger problems. Coming up. Hey guys, welcome back to the Aspie world. My name is Dan. I have autism, ADHD, OCD and dyslexia. I make weekly videos on autism and that kind of stuff, so if you want to learn more and help me change the world, remember to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell, because you won't get notified when I upload videos. So super important, hit that notification bell and it'll be super dope. Also, if you're watching over on Facebook, make sure to hit that like and follow button, because I'm uploading daily videos on there and you'll see all of them. Okay guys, welcome back. In this video, I'm discussing specifically how the communication impacts of being on the spectrum can cause a lot of anger management issues and some ways of dealing with that. Okay, cool. I'm feeling super pumped. I'm back making videos. I love making videos, and I'm in my new office, and you've seen the last video that I uploaded, then you would have seen the little cutaways in my office and how cool and neat it's looking right now. But forget the office renovation and all that kind of jazz. I am back making videos just for you guys. I wonder how you are all doing on this lovely day. I think we had like Storm Beatrix or something in the UK. I don't know, it was like some kind of storm in the UK, and it like trashed everybody's like bins and trees and stuff like that. So stuff, rubbish all over the floor, trees are broken, you know, fantastic. That's what you want in January. Anyway, guys, I am back. I'm absolutely loving making videos. I absolutely love talking to you guys. So that being said, I want to know where you're coming from and where you're watching from. So in the comment section below right now, leave me the location where you're talking to me from or where you're seeing my video from, and I'll have a discussion with you, because I read and respond to every single comment and I'm loving it. Okay guys, gonna get into this right now. But if you are wanting information on autism, like how to get a diagnosis and what happens in the diagnostic process, my website is jam-packed full of information. So if you can go to theaspieworld.com, you'll see a lot of information there. So remember to check that out when you're doing your searches and all that kind of jazz. And guys, just as a little tip, I am actually wanting more friends on Instagram and Twitter. So if you want to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, I follow people back as well, because I love making new friends, and that's super, super awesome. All right. Oh, I also upload videos on all those platforms. So I wanted to talk about autism and communication, because at its core, autism is a communication condition. Autism and communication are they go hand in hand. It's because of the triad of impairment where we have issues communicating our thoughts and feelings and emotions to people. So autism impacts the communicative part of our brain. Now, if we step back a little bit and we think about what communication is, communication isn't what a lot of people think it is. You know, some people think it's, operators on one end of a telephone line putting plugs into one end, and then you on the other side, and like, Alaska to Texas, kind of putting cables into sockets and speaking on the phone. And I suppose that is communication, but also communication is saying hi to somebody in the street, or giving someone a high five, or even waving at someone through a window and then waving back at you. Because the definition, or to define communication, it's moving particles from one area of space all the way over to another area of space, and then having the particles come back to the area of space that it was originally. And that pretty much is the form of communication. So why is communication so important? Well, very, very simply, communication is the only way that we're able to logistically move our society forward. We all need to communicate. We need to express how we feel about things in order to gain food, access to security, access to dorm, like everything you can think of exists because of communication. And being good at communication can be the difference between getting something and not getting something that you really, really need. Now, communication for autistic people can be difficult because of the way that the autistic brain works, on a neurodivergent brain. It actually has an issue with understanding how things communicate. And let's have an example of this. When I am out, and I have sensory processing disorder as well, comes with autism, it's comorbidly coming with autism. So if you're out in the store and the lights are overpowering, and those lights get into your brain, and you're like, I can't deal with this, it's sensory overloading, and those lights are taking up a lot of space in your ability to understand what's going on and your comprehension of reality of that moment and that time. And so you can't communicate instantly, oh, the light is really annoying me, so I'm actually going to go step outside. This becomes an annoyance, and you can't physically say what's going on because you're trying to deal with the situation at hand. So this is another way of how the autistic brain doesn't communicate itself through any kind of receptor the way that a neurotypical brain does. And a neurotypical brain is somebody who is not on the autism spectrum and communicate, just typically normal per se. I don't like using the word normal, but you know what I mean. They can typically communicate things like, oh, it's too hot in here. Oh, it's too bright in here. Oh my God, there's too much noise in here. Now, the autistic brain also comes under fire from anger management issues. I did a video a long time ago on anger management issues, and I'm going to do another one. So if you'd like to see a video dedicated to anger management tips and hacks and things like that for autism, please give this video a juicy thumbs up. Hit that little thumbs up button on the bar below. Go boop, hit that thumbs up. That indicates to me that you guys want to see that video, and so let's do it. Say if I get 300 likes on this video, I will know that you guys want me to do that video on anger management specifically. So I have huge issues with anger management. I actually have issues where I get so overwhelmed and so agitated and so kind of like stressed that I actually hit myself in the head, and this is involuntary, and this comes with autism. Not every single time, but most of the time, people who are on the spectrum have an issue where they will involuntarily hit themselves in the head. I can't stand it. I don't want to do those things. I absolutely can't stand it. Like, I had a huge meltdown yesterday, and this is real life. I had a huge meltdown yesterday, and then I just hit myself in the head, and then I quickly realized this, and then I was like hitting my hand, and that didn't make any difference either. And it's kind of like when I was growing up, I've hit my hands out, I've lashed out, and I've broken my hands and stuff. Anger management is a huge issue. So how does it connect with communication from autism, and how does autism kind of like cause anger management issues? Communication, it's 70% non-verbal. So a lot of people think communicating is like talking on the phone or like talking one-on-one with people. But in actual fact, communication is largely to do with like hand gestures and the way that you stand, and the way that you signal things with your hands, or the way that you make expressions with your face. And most of those forms of communication are missed with the autistic brain, because the autistic brain doesn't break down and identify facial recognition for spatial awareness of like how the muscles are moving in the face to then form a gesture that gesture is broken down in communicative language for, oh, this person's annoyed, intrigued, peed off. Like, there's just no way of knowing. So imagine this, we'll put this in perspective in a scenario, okay? You're an anxious person because you're on the autism spectrum, and anxiety is kind of like the way you live your life most days, and you're a super worrier, and all the things are going on, and you're already worried about everything anyway. Then you're trying to talk to somebody, and they're using a lot of like facial expressions and hand gestures, and they're also not really explaining themselves as detailed as you'd want, because typically neurotypical people don't need that much detail. So then you're trying to pick up this half-baked information, and then you are worried that you're not even understanding them correctly, because you say, well, this can't be right, it just sounds like gibberish. Because I have sometimes when my girlfriend talks to me and she says things to me, I'm looking, I think, and she's talking in alien language. I can't understand a word she says. I have to ask her to repeat this a few times so I can actually understand what she's saying. But if you only hear it once, and then you start getting frustrated, and then you start getting annoyed, and then this then leads to you starting to sweat, and when you're sweating and agitated, you become angry, and there you have it. Anger has just hit on you. Now, creating anger, as autism can create a lot of anger, we also need to try and look at the fact that we can try and create calm when we're around that anger, if you kind of get me. So one of the things that I like to try and do is that when I'm getting issues with communication, and it gets worse and worse and worse and worse, and then I get to a point where I'm going to start getting really angry, I stop and I do the breathing technique where you breathe in for 5, hold for 5, and then breathe out for 5. This kind of is one of the most effective ways, because it instantly calms you down and it could stop anger brewing. That being said, there is no possible way to stop kind of unplanned eruptions of anger. Sometimes it just happens. That's just it. That's just the way of the brain, and sometimes it's you can't stop it. But one of the things you can stop is try to stop lashing out and hitting things, because I know lots of damage can happen. Like I said, I've broken my hand twice this side, once this side, and my wrist this side. And I'm not proud of that. I actually despise it, but it's just something that happens, and that's how it goes, really. And that's anger and autism. Now, the issues are always arising from the stem, and the stem of this is pretty much the communication issues. So if you can stop communication issues in the heart, then by the time it would have got to an anger, it won't become anger, you know what I mean? So when you have bad communication, that can possibly lead to anger issues. But when you have good communication, this is going to be good all around for everybody. So my advice for this is to try and overcome communication issues. Now, there are lots of ways that you can create communication loopholes or communication hacks, and I would love to actually do a video on this. So let me know in the comments actually if anybody here would like to see a video on communication hacks and how to better communicate and communication tools for autism, because like that would be super cool, and I'd love to do something like that. So let me know if you guys would want to see that. I think it's super important that we address this issue, because anger is such an overwhelming issue for people on the spectrum that it can feel almost like engulfing, you know, it can engulf you fully, and it can stop you becoming a happy-go-lucky person. And I think that anger is such a negative action that we need to move away from that. And so I think any possible help we can get to overcome, to get out of those issues is going to be the best thing for us, which I absolutely love. And so guys, I am just so humbled that you guys want to stop here and watch this video with me. But if you want this video to help change somebody else's life and you think that it would be awesome if they watched it, please share this on your Facebook and Twitter and Instagram accounts, because sharing is caring. And if you care about somebody, we're making a caring society, and that helps everybody. So guys, without further ado, I will see you in the next video. All right.